Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Mandala. Welcome you all to the video lectures on object-oriented programming through Java. We are in our lecture number 7. In this lecture, let us see what is a Java variable and what are all the different data types we have in Java. So what actually a variable is? As the name itself, it is telling like it is varying. That means it is changing. So it is not constant. It will be changing its value, or its behavior will be changing. Right? So a Java variable can be defined like a piece of memory that can contain a data value. So we will be allocating some memory, and in that memory we'll have this data value. Now what actually these variables are used is, these variables are generally used to store the data, right? So if you want to store any values, or if you want to store any information, that thing can be done and that can be stored in a variable, where for that variable a piece of memory will be allocated. Now let us see how a variable can be declared. Variable declaration can be done by using this syntax, where we need to specify the data type and then the variable name whatever you want. About these data types we'll learn detail. And variable name can be any name, but before giving any variable name we need to follow some rules also that I'll tell you. Now using this syntax we can declare a variable. So if you see this example here I am creating a variable a, where its data type you need to specify int. So variable declaration, whenever we are saying declaration, the declaration will talk about two things. First one is it will tell what is the name of that variable, and the second one is it will tell what type of value we can store, what type of data we can store into that variable. So these two tasks will be done in our declaration. Always the statement should end with a semicolon. Now once the declaration is done, we can assign values to a variable. We can assign values to a variable using this syntax, using this operator equal to operator. So we need to specify what is the variable name you have used, and then we can assign the value to that one. So here if you have declared like this, and then we can assign the value a equal to 10. So without declaration we can't assign any value to a variable. Got it, all of you? Remember, anywhere in our Java program we can declare our variables, but before using that variable we can before that we should make sure like the variable is declared. So anywhere in our Java program we can declare a variable. Unlike C, in C all the variables should be declared at the starting of your function or your main function, like that. But whereas in Java programming language, variable declaration can be done anywhere. Only thing you need to make sure like before using that variable you need to declare that. Okay, so this is how a variable can be declared and a variable value can be assigned. So let us see what are all the variable naming convention. Like whenever you want to give any variable name, what are all the rules to be followed. Remember, Java is a case sensitive programming language. That means variable names are case sensitive. That means if you are giving a variable name as apple, then this apple is not same like this apple where the first letter is capital, and it is also not same like all capitals apple also. So this will be considered as a separate variable name, and this will be considered as a separate variable name. So Java variable names are case sensitive. And the second rule is Java variable names must start with a letter or the dollar or a underscore character. Got it, all of you? Other than this, we should not start our variable names with anything. It should start with a letter or dollar symbol or underscore. Now after the first character in the Java variable, the name can contain numbers also. So we can define a variable is a combination of letters, numbers, dollar symbol and underscore, but always the variable name should start with a letter, underscore or a dollar symbol. Got it, all of you? Now coming to the fourth rule, we should not use the reserved keywords as a variable name. So we have some keywords in our Java programming language. Those keywords should not be used as a variable name, because those keywords have their own predefined meaning for them. So we should not use them as our variable name. So for example, if you say int is a keyword, and that word should not be used as our variable name. Got it? So these are some of the rules that need to be followed whenever we are giving variable name. So these are called as variable naming conventions. Okay. Now Let us see what are all the different types of data we can store in a variable, and how many different types of data types we have in Java also we'll see. So what actually a data type is? The data type specifies the size and type of value that can be stored in a variable. See, in a variable we can store values, isn't it or not? Now what type of value you can store and what is the size of that value is specified by using this data type. Right? Generally data types are categorized into two types, that is primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Remember, primitive data types is nothing but independent data types, whereas non-primitive data types are dependable data types, where these non-primitive data types are created by using these primitive data types. That means these are depending on these. Okay, so these are the now primitive data types are basic data types. Got it, all of you? And coming to primitive data types, these are basic data types which are categorized into numeric and non-numeric. And whereas numeric data types will be holding values of integer data type and floating point data type. Coming to the non-numeric, we have a character data type and Boolean also. This is a new data type in Java. In C, we don't have an option of Boolean data type. In Java, we have a Boolean data type. So these are all basic data types which are independent data types. Got it? Coming to the non-primitive data types, non-primitive data types are of three types: classes, interface and arrays. All these three are created by using our primitive data types. So that's why these are called as derived data types. Derived data types is nothing but dependable data types which are derived by using these primitive data types. So this is complete classification of our data types in our Java programming language. So we can say our basic data types are integer, floating point, char and Boolean. So these are our basic data types. Got it, all of you? So let us learn about these four data types, what actually different types of these data types, what type of values we can store by using these data types, and what is the size of these data types, these four data types we'll see in this lecture. From the next lecture onwards, we'll see about what actually these non-primitive data types, like how classes are designed, how arrays are designed, how interfaces are designed, we'll see in future classes. Okay, so this lecture is completely about our primitive data types only. Now let us start with our integer data type. Now what is this integer data type is? Now integer data type is used to store whole numbers only. It is used to hold only whole numbers, such as we can store positive numbers or a negative numbers, but it should be a whole number. No decimal part should be there. Now whenever we are telling integer data type value always depends upon the type that we are choosing. Generally we have four types of integer, like in Java programming language: byte, short, int, long. So depending upon the type of integer, all will be coming under the category of integer only. Depending upon the type we are using, its size will be considered. So if you want to know the size, see, the size of byte will be 1 byte, short will be 2 bytes, int will be 4 bytes and long will be 8 bytes. Now depending upon this size, the value range will be depending. So if you see, the range of values can be stored. If you want to know, then in byte we can store as it is having a size of 1 byte, we can store a range of values from -128 to 127. Now how? And if you are talking about short, which is of 2 bytes, the range is from here to here. Int is of 4 bytes, which is the where the range is from here to here. Long is of 8 bytes, where the range is from here to here. That means a value can between these two, from here to here. According to your requirement, you can declare your variable as a byte, short, int or long. Suppose if you want to store a value of 5, then you can declare that variable as byte A. Got it, all of you? Now how this range is specified, I'll tell you. How the range is specified like this. Remember, 1 byte is nothing but 8 bits. Now each bit, whenever as we know, the range of values is calculated by using this formula: 2 power n minus 1 to minus of 2 power n minus 1 to 2 power n minus 1 minus 1. Now let us see, let us talk about this one. Now what is this? N value is nothing but number of bits, 8 bits. So what can we say? For 1 byte, how we are getting this range? Minus of 2 power 8 minus 1, which is 7. So minus of 2 power 7 to 2 power 7 minus 2 power 7 minus 1. So you will get this one. So minus of 2 power 7 is minus 128 to 2 power 7 minus 1, that is 128 minus 1 is 127. Like that these values will be calculated. So here it is of 16 bits. So you need to consider minus of 2 power 15. The value will be like this. And 2 power 15 minus 1, the value will be like this. I think you all are clear with this, how you are calculating the range. So always it depends upon the size. Got it, all of you? Now if you want to see an example how the values will be declared, it is int. Make a note of this one, all of you. Int a you can declare. That means a value can have a can store a value of ranging between these two. If you are exceeding this one, we can't store. Okay, byte b we can declare like this. Byte b will store a value between 128 to 127. Got it, all of you? So this is how integer data type works. Only whole numbers can be stored. Now coming to the floating point, in floating point if you want to use, we can store a fractional part also using this floating point, where we have two subtypes, float and double. The size will be for float 4 bytes and double will be 8 bytes, and the range will be from here to here. If you want to see the example, float a, double b, here a is holding a fractional part. Like this you can store. Float. Only these two are used to hold the fractional part. Only the difference is size difference. 4 bytes here, 8 bytes here. Okay, coming to the next one, that is character type. Generally character type is used to store character constants in a variable, and it is assuming of size 2 bytes only. Basically it will be holding a single character only. We can't store group of characters. Only one character can be stored in that variable. But if you want to store group of characters, it is a different one, that is string. But that is not the case here. It is only character, where we can store only one single character. Now the keyword, if you want to use to make a variable as a character data type, we need to use char. In case of int, it is we have 4 options. In case of float, we have 2 options, but for character we have only one option, that is char. Okay, now whenever you want to store any value, that value should be kept in a single quote. See here an example. I have declared two variables, char a and char b. Both will be storing only single character values, and whenever you are storing any character values, that should be kept in single quotes. Got it? You need to put in the single quotes. See here, A is storing k, B is storing 2 number, but here it is not an integer value, it is a character value. Why? Because we have declared B as character. That means we need to put that 2 in a single quote. Got it, all of you? 2 is also considered as a character value. So this is how character value can be stored. Coming to the last type of primitive data type, that is Boolean. Boolean data type is a new data type which is available in Java programming language. In C we don't have this. This is used to store values with 2 states, that is either true or false. So to represent this value, we can use only 1 bit of data. So its size is of 1 bit. Character is of how many bits? Character is of how many bits? I forgot to tell you. Character is of 2 bytes. Right? Coming to the Boolean, Boolean is of 1 bit only. Now the keyword that will be used to declare any Boolean data type is Boolean keyword will be used. So this is a simple example. If you want to declare Boolean A, then A will be holding either a value of true or a false according to your application. You can use this. Got it, all of you? This is how 4 data types can be used, that is integer, floating, next one is character, and Boolean. Okay, so all these data type are keywords. Int, short, long, byte are keywords, float, double is a keyword, char is a keyword, Boolean is also a keyword. Okay, these names should not be used as our variable names. Okay, so with this we'll come to an end of our 7th lecture, that is about variables and data types. Let us all meet in our next lecture. Thank you.